So that's some good news to start us off, that we can feel good about that. You know what we can't feel good about? Concentration camps. You know, I went to a comedy show last night. I went to see Robbie the Fire Bernstein at the Quill, not the Quill, the Shell. Oh God, Dennis is gonna kill me. At the Shell, which is one of the libertarian clubs in New Hampshire. I was gone for like 3-4 hours max. I came out of that comedy show and all of a sudden New York is voting on concentration camps. What the hell? What the hell? This is in the National Pulse. New York legislation provides for indefinite detention of unvaccinated at the governor's whim. Yeah, Just T says, I had heard there were hot babes in the Australian camps. Somehow I don't think there's going to be hot babes in the New York camps. Let's read. In the next legislative session beginning January 5th, 2022, the New York State or Senate and Assembly could vote on a bill that would grant permission to remove and detain cases, contacts, carriers, or anyone suspected of presenting a significant threat to public health, and remove them from public life on an indefinite basis. Who is going to decide? By what criteria are we going to decide who presents a threat to public health? Does anyone want to take a guess about how this is going to be applied given everything else that New York has done? Bill A416 presents a serious risk to the basic liberties of all Americans in the state of New York, including their right to choose whether or not to receive medical treatment and vaccinations related to the thus far undetermined contagious diseases. The bill gives the governor of New York, his or her delegates, including but not limited to the commissioner and heads of local health departments, the right to remove and detain any individuals or groups of people through issuing a single order. The orders only have to include the individual's name or reasonably specific descriptions of individuals or groups. What could possibly go wrong? The department can decide to hold a person or group of people in a medical facility or any other they deem appropriate. The language is purposefully vague. Isn't it great when legislatures pass extremely vague laws that can be interpreted in a variety of ways? Nothing could go wrong with this plan. Nothing at all. It's going to be fine. This is the United States of America, guys. I mean, for real. Sean C., and if you're the same Sean C. that's been defending me on Twitter, I want to say thank you, because you're right on the money if you are the same person. But it's for our protection. I have to believe at some point, even the sleepiest person is going to wake up and say, no more. Please let it be so. I mean, I have been saying since the beginning of this whole thing that the only way that people start speaking up and pushing back is if they start to experience absolutely insurmountable pain. And I really think that the reason that we don't see the big protests in America like we saw in London over the weekend, or like that we've seen in Australia or many other locations, I really think that part of the reason that we don't see them is because people here aren't experiencing enough pain yet. But people will only push back when they start experiencing a requisite amount of pain. And I hope we get there sooner rather than later. I don't want to see people experience pain, but we are almost 2 years in to 15 days to slow the spread. The lesson that we should learn from the very beginning, is that our biggest mistake was giving in to 15 days to slow the spread in the first place. We never should have done it. We always should have known what would happen. We did it because the country's made up of good people and we didn't really know what was going on, and it was out of an abundance of caution and we agreed to it. But if we learn nothing else from the past 2 years, it's that we never should have given in to 15 days to slow the spread in the effing first place. We never should have given in to the idea that some people are essential and some people are not. We never should have given into the idea that some businesses are more important than others. We never should have given into the idea that people should be forced to stay in their house and to not lead their normal lives and exercise their basic liberties. We never should have given it into the first place. It was the biggest mistake of this entire thing. Awesome, Sean C. Thank you again for your defense on Twitter. And again, everything you've been saying, right on the money, man. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for speaking up. Dragonwater said, leftists love World German War II era leaders' tactics. Yep, they do. Well, it's all about authoritarianism. The thing about 15 days to slow the spread in this entire pandemic is it allowed people's inner authoritarians to come out and to shine. People who were inclined to be control freaks from the very beginning have really shined in the course of this pandemic. Let's read the rest of this article. Though the bill attempts to state that no one shall be held for more than 60 days, oh, how lenient of them. The language allows for court orders to waive the maximum detention time. After 60 days, the court is allowed an additional 90 days to consider the detention of an individual, a cycle that can last indefinitely per the opinion of the department. Boris says, I barely see your posts on Twitter. They shadow banned you. Oh, yeah, they did. Oh, I'm aware. I think it has to do with any time you get a 12-hour ban, they basically make you not seeable for a while, and then Twitter kind of like goes back to normal. And so it's just like cyclical, man. Just, put alerts for my tweets if you don't want to, I sometimes tweet a lot, so just be aware of that. But maybe if you want to see my tweets, put alerts on, and that'll make sure that you see my tweets. As the language of the bill refers to, excuse me. Okay, we got to go back up here because this is actually a little bit important. It goes on to state that the bill will require an individual who has been exposed to or infected by a contagious disease to complete an appropriate prescribed course of treatment, preventative medicine, or vaccination. Isn't that convenient? Essentially giving the government the right to detain anyone they want and forcibly vaccinate them. As the language of the bill refers to individuals or groups who potentially pose a threat, the bill is a preemptive strike against anyone the department believes has the capacity to pose a threat in the future, such as refusing to receive a COVID-19 vaccination. So great. Awesome. Awesome. The blue states are going one by one. California's fallen. New York's fallen. They're all falling. Thank God I live in New Hampshire where, hopefully we won't be building camps anytime soon. I think the libertarians would have an issue with that.